Wargamers, I got to play my first game of 8th edition. That's supposed to be confetti. So let's talk about it. Let's chat about how the game went and some of my first impressions of how my lists work, what the lists were, everything like that. Before we do though, I want to say thanks for watching. If you like this video, if you like my other videos, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. And while you're at it, check out a video in the description below that gives you opportunity to win some cool stuff. There's about a week left in the competition or the giveaway drawing, so check that out if you haven't already. Alright, so I played a 2,000 point 8th edition game, my Tau versus a friend's Grey Knight list, and I'll tell you what the lists were. Now, I didn't videotape it just because, well, for a few reasons. One, I wanted to focus more on playing the game and getting used to it, and also just now the models were painted and, you know, lighting and stuff like that. So, didn't bother with that, but we can still talk about, there's still plenty of stuff to learn about 8th edition from that game. So the list, starting with my opponent, was Grey Knights with Draigo, a Deathwatch librarian, 3 5-man strike squads, 2 5-man interceptor squads with a hammer in each, 2 venerable dreadnoughts with 2x2 autocannons, 1 Deathwatch vet unit with 5 guys with 4 frags and 1 heavy thunderhammer, 2 stormtalons with 2 twin autocannons and 1 twin las and skyhammer, and then a drop pod. So that came out to be about 1993 points. And then my list, my Tau list, was Commander Farsight and a Fireblade, 3 10-man units of fire warriors with pulse rifles, 6 crisis suits, each with 2 plasma and a flamer each, along with 4 gun drones, a 5-man stealth suit team with a homing beacon, Firesight marksman with 6 sniper drones, 6 vespid, a Sunshark bomber, a Stormsurge, and 2 units of marker drones. So that was my list. And overall, I think the game went well. It was a fun game. I got to try out a lot of things, and I got to use units, as you could probably tell, that I would not have ever used in 7th edition. And by the way, I'll put both of those army lists in the description below for you to look at more closely. But overall, it went really well. Let's just kind of break it down what happened. Basically, my opponent got first turn. He rolled up right on me, got to really lay down some hurt. Those interceptor squads, along with Draigo, were really able to put some damage down on my fire warriors, and it took out most of them. So that was detrimental. You know, the strategy there had been that I was going to use the Fireblade in conjunction with all these fire warriors to just put down tons of shots, and that should take care of most things, but I didn't have that opportunity. And so that sucked, but in my turn I was able to deep strike my crisis suits in along with Farsight and clean up most of that. And that's pretty much how the game went. It was really determined by the placement of those interceptor squads coming up early, and then having things like the drop pod and veterans come in right behind them. Everything was right in the center of the board, and that set up really nicely for my crisis suits and Farsight to just pick them off pretty easily. In addition, the few fire warriors that were remaining really were able to put out a lot of shots, and I think that's it really illustrated something that I've been saying for the past couple weeks, is that 8th edition is not about strength of weaponry. No, instead it's about volume of fire and about armor penetration value, and to a lesser extent about damage value. Really, you need to have more shots, and you need to have them do at least some armor penetration. And the reason for that is that strength really doesn't matter in most cases. In most scenarios, whether you're strength 5, strength 4, strength 3, isn't going to make a big difference. You know, of course, strength 3, you start to get some play when you get to strength or toughness 6. So vehicles, you're less effective with strength 3, but strength 4 versus strength 5 for a lot of vehicles isn't going to be very different, and it's going to be exactly the same for almost all infantry. So so really it's not about strength, it's about how many shots you can put out. So any unit, whether it's fire warriors with the marksman or interceptors with Draigo, anything like that that is able to put out a lot of firepower orcs, even if it's not very high strength, having a large number of shots is really going to be a staple of 8th edition, and that's that I think this illustrated it very well. So taking apart my list a little bit more about what worked, what didn't. Farsight, he worked fine. I think he's not super durable. He needs support. He needs to have some unit alongside him to soak up shots, preventing other units from targeting him. So there is some strategy involved in that. There's some tactics they have to employ in order to make sure other units are close by in order to prevent him from just getting shot up. But once he's in combat, he does a lot of good. And you can use stratagems to help make sure that he gets to strike first, right? So really impressed with how Farsight does. He has the ability to call multiple Cayunes or Monakas, and that's really nice too. And it synergizes with you having multiple units nearby, because those are aura abilities, and you need to have units nearby to actually leverage those. So there's that. The fire warriors, again, because they can put out a volume of fire, can be very effective, especially with a fireblade. I think you'll see fire warriors and fire blades as a staple in a lot of Tau armies. The crisis suits, the crisis suits have been getting a lot of hate online lately. People say don't bother with crisis suits, go with vespid, go with commanders, but don't bother with crisis suits. Nay, I tell you, nay. Crisis suits, I think, are really good, mostly because they can take 3 weapons. Yes, they can't take 4 like commanders can, but they take 3 weapons and you can take a lot of them. And sometimes that's what counts. Sometimes it doesn't matter how efficient it is, but just how powerful you can actually get the unit to be. And I think crisis suits provide that opportunity. They were very effective. Like I said, the plasma rifles ruled the day, and the flamers on those were very useful when the crisis suits got charged by Draigo. So I really like that loadout. I think plasma rifle flamers is completely viable in combination with Farsight. I like it. Stealth suit team, those are cool. The -1 to hit is really useful. I think probably the most improved award goes to the vespid. The fact that they can move 14 inches is awesome, and then it's still not going to prevent them from getting caught up in combat because so many other units can move so far now. But they can they can move to where they need to be after or before combat, that sort of thing. And their weaponry is really good. The strength 5 -2 AP makes them a nightmare for marine equivalents. So that's awesome. The Sunshark bomber, I didn't get a huge opportunity to use the Sunshark bomber. It ran over a couple different units, and the first time I did it, I didn't do it right. But still, I can see the opportunity there, and I like the Sunshark bomber. It doesn't necessarily need to be an auto include in lists, but I think in environments where you're expecting to run into a lot of like multiple small units, this can be really good, because there is a cap on how many infantries can be affected by a single bomb, and that number is 10. So if you're facing units that are stronger than 10, maybe it's not going to be as effective, but for anything smaller than that, I think the Sunshark is going to be real nice. Of course, it is pretty fragile, and the fact that flyers are just hard to hit now instead of causing snapshots doesn't necessarily help that. So you know, if you bring it, just be prepared to, you know, use it on its best target first, basically, because it might not be around very long. The sniper drones were really underwhelming. This is a thing that we've talked about before, I think, and certainly people have talked about online, is that they just don't have the armor penetration or volume of fire to really make a huge difference. Now, they can put out quite a number of shots. They don't benefit from a fire blade or anything like that, but they can put out a fair number of shots, and they can do it pretty accurately. It's just that a lot of characters have high armor values that negates the majority of that. So I think really what I would have liked to see was a little bit more of a armor penetration value on these guys. But, you know, c'est la vie, that's how it goes. The one thing that they might be really useful for is picking out poor armored psychers or something like that. So depending on who you're going against, it still could be pretty useful. It's just not something that's going to be very useful against Marine equivalent armies, which are probably going to be very common in 8th edition. Overall, the Stormsurge was okay. It's not a deal breaker. It was completely, you know, moderate. It did do some damage, but didn't do an amazing amount of damage. And I set it up with the Stormsurge having an early warning override and a drone controller. And I liked that setup because I basically had the Stormsurge as like this drone hub. So I had all the marker drones around there, and so the marker drones were able to benefit from the drone controller, and it worked out because the Stormsurge gives you the option to take supporting systems without losing firepower, and that worked out really, really slick. Oh, of course, I also had a shield generator on him as well. So, yeah, that was basically how it went. Those are the things I liked. I like fire wards. I like vespid. I like crisis suits. Didn't really like sniper drones, and was pretty middle of the road on the Stormsurge and the Sunshark. So, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. I promise I will have actual battle reports coming up soon, as well as my detailed unit by unit review for the new Tau army list, and then whatever else you guys want from that video that I mentioned earlier, that giveaway video. I'm asking you to tell me what you want me to review, so check it out. All right, like I said, thanks for watching and happy wargaming. So yeah, I realized that there was confetti in my hair this whole time now, so yep.